For 50 years, India has been trying to do something no country has ever attempted at this scale. Dam an entire Gulf of the ocean. In the Gulf of Khambhat, off the coast of Gujarat, India plans to build a 60-kilometer dam straight across the sea, sealing off a massive arm of the Arabian Sea and converting it into the largest freshwater reservoir on Earth. It will cost over $14 billion, and it faces one of the most hostile marine environments on the planet. A gulf where the sea rises and falls by up to 11 meters twice a day. The idea was first proposed in 1975. For half a century, it stayed on paper. Too ambitious, too expensive, too difficult. Then in May 2026, during a visit to the Netherlands, Prime Minister Modi signed an agreement that may finally turn this 50-year-old dream into concrete and steel. The project is known as Kalpasar. This is the story of the most ambitious water project India has ever conceived, and why it took the country that mastered the sea to help India attempt it. Please take a moment to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel. Gujarat has a water crisis built into its geography. The state's Saurashtra region, a peninsula jutting into the Arabian Sea, is chronically drought-prone. Limited rivers, erratic monsoons, no reliable large-scale freshwater source. For decades, farmers have depended on unpredictable rainfall and depleting groundwater, drilling wells deeper as the water table falls. Meanwhile, just across the Gulf of Khambhat, major rivers, the Narmada, Mahi, Sabarmati, Dudar, empty enormous volumes of fresh water directly into the sea, where it mixes with salt water and is lost. The logic of Kalpasar is simple. Capture that fresh water before it reaches the sea. By building a dam across the Gulf, India would trap the river runoff on the landward side. Over time, the trapped freshwater would push out the salt water, creating a reservoir roughly 2,000 square kilometers in area, holding nearly 8 billion cubic meters of water. That water would irrigate over 1 million hectares of farmland, supply drinking water to drought-prone regions, and support industry. In some versions of the plan, it would also generate renewable energy and carry a road link that cuts the travel distance between Saurashtra and South Gujarat from 240 kilometers to just 60. One dam, water security, power, and connectivity, all at once. But the Gulf of Khambhat is one of the most difficult places on Earth to build anything. The Gulf is funnel-shaped, wide at its southern opening, roughly 180 kilometers across, narrowing sharply toward the north. As the ocean pushes into the narrowing Gulf, the water has nowhere to go but up. The result is one of the highest tidal ranges in the world, the sea rising and falling by as much as 11 meters between high and low tide. Most coastlines experience tidal ranges of 1 to 3 meters. Kalpasar's dam would have to withstand forces several times more powerful than almost any marine structure ever built. Those tides generate ferocious currents. Twice a day, enormous volumes of water rush in and out at high speed, carrying massive loads of silt. And the Gulf sits in a seismically active zone. The foundations of a 60-kilometer dam would have to survive earthquakes while resting on constantly shifting marine sediment. This combination, extreme tides, violent currents, heavy sediment, seismic risk, is exactly why the project sat on paper for 50 years. And Gujarat knows exactly what a dam failure looks like. In 1979, the Machchu II Dam in Gujarat's Morbi district collapsed after extreme monsoon flooding. Within 20 minutes, a wall of water tore through the town downstream. Death toll estimates range from 1,800 to 25,000. The Guinness Book of Records listed it as the deadliest dam burst in history. The comparison isn't direct. Kalpasar is a very different type of structure. But the Morbi disaster illustrates what happens when major water infrastructure fails in Gujarat. And Kalpasar would hold back not a river, but an arm of the sea. That is where the Netherlands comes in. No country understands holding back the sea better than the Netherlands. Much of the country sits below sea level. For centuries, the Dutch have survived by building dikes and barriers. Their most famous achievement is the Afsluitdijk, a 32-kilometer dam completed in 1932 that sealed off an arm of the North Sea and converted it into a freshwater lake. The parallel to Kalpasar is almost exact. Seal off a saltwater bay, convert it to freshwater, protect the land behind it. The Dutch did it nearly a century ago. But Kalpasar is roughly twice the length of the Afsluitdijk, with dramatically higher tides in a seismic zone. And it faces one threat the Dutch never designed for: tropical cyclones. The Zuiderzee sits in the calm North Sea. The Gulf of Khambhat lies in the path of Arabian Sea cyclones that can generate storm surges on top of already extreme tides. It is the Afsluitdijk concept scaled up and dropped into a far more violent environment. In May 2026, during Modi's visit to the Netherlands, the two countries signed a letter of intent for technical cooperation on Kalpasar. Dutch expertise in coastal engineering and tidal barriers would be applied to India's most ambitious water project. The detailed project report reached its finalization stage in late 2025. In May 2026, Gujarat formally sought environmental clearance, listing an updated cost of 1.33 lakh crore rupees, roughly $14 billion. After 50 years, Kalpasar was finally moving from concept toward construction. But moving toward construction is not the same as building. Sealing off the Gulf would fundamentally alter one of India's most productive marine ecosystems. The Gulf supports significant fisheries. Damming it would change salinity, block fish migration, and transform the entire coastal environment. Review committees have already deferred earlier versions, demanding further study. There is also a problem hidden in the water. The rivers feeding the reservoir, the Sabarmati, the Mahi, are among the most industrially polluted in India. Trapping that water does not make it clean. And as freshwater pushes saltwater out, that displaced brine has to go somewhere. Discharging it back into the Arabian Sea risks creating hypersaline dead zones where marine life cannot survive. The Dutch mastered holding back water. Holding back pollution is a different problem entirely. There is also a quieter strategic logic. China controls the headwaters of major rivers feeding India's north. Rivers India cannot control. Kalpasar is different. It creates an enormous freshwater reserve entirely within India's own territory. In an era where upstream nations increasingly treat water as leverage, a self-contained reserve carries strategic value beyond Gujarat's farms. And then there is cost and time. The 2022 estimate was 1 lakh crore rupees. By 2026, it had risen to 1.33 lakh crore rupees. Gujarat says the project would be built within 8 years of approval. Independent estimates suggest 15 years, with completion no earlier than the mid-2030s. India's large projects, like Vizhinjam Port, delayed 5 years, routinely slip. A first-of-its-kind ocean dam may slip further still. Right now, the Gulf of Khambhat is open sea. Twice a day the tide rushes in and out, rising and falling by up to 11 meters across a gulf that has never been crossed by anything close to what India now plans to build. If Kalpasar is completed, it will be one of the largest marine engineering projects in human history. A 60-kilometer barrier holding back the ocean, creating the largest freshwater reservoir on Earth, transforming the water security of an entire region. If it is not, it will remain what it has been for 50 years. The most ambitious water project India ever imagined, but could never quite build. The Dutch sealed off their sea in 1932 and never looked back. India is now attempting the same feat at twice the scale, against far greater odds. The rivers are still flowing into the Gulf, the tide is still rising and falling, and after 50 years of waiting, India is finally deciding whether it can hold back the